This episode of Shenanigans is brought to you by me, Matt Keano. Go listen to my stuff anywhere you want. Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, YouTube Music, anywhere you want, anywhere that streams. If you want to pirate it. I don't care. Go wild.
Use Deezer. Keep Deezer alive, please.
Yeah, keep Deezer alive. That's the most important one. My newest song, Yeah, That's Me, is out now with a really cool music video. EP is out September 18th with hopefully a music video coming out at the same time. So keep an eye out for that one. Hello and welcome to this episode of Shenanigans with me, your host, Matt Keano. And with us this week is James Phillips.
Hello.
Drummer extraordinaire. I would say other instruments. I don't think you play other instruments, do you?
I bought a ukulele. I'm trying to learn that.
Classic white boy move. Ukulele.
Okay. I went to Trago Mills and I was looking like buying drumsticks and I saw the ukulele and I was like,
yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was at Trago Mills the other week and they had an electric drum kit set up.
Yep.
And I don't play drums, but I was looking at it being like, do I just sit down and just play with them for a bit?
I played on it and when you got the headphones on, you don't realize how loud electric drums are.
Yeah.
They don't make any sound. They just make taps.
Yeah.
So I was playing it for a little bit and I was like, oh, this is quite cool. And then I look up and it's just some old man with fishing gear. Looking at me like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, it's such a weird place because my partner's parents kept banging on about how class it was down there. Mm-hmm. So we went down there just to have a look and it was so overwhelming the first time we went there.
It's huge, mate.
There's too much stuff.
I converted my van and every time I've gone there it's been for wood for these different parts.
Yeah.
I walk out with way more than I need.
Yeah.
Stuff I would never use or ever thought of buying. I'm like,
yeah, but you just find it down there.
It's cheap, mate. I need that. It's £5 off.
Yeah. They sell guitar strings in there and stuff as well. It's such a weird place. Really weird place. Anyway, there's enough talking about shops because we're not here to talk about shops. Although we could talk about shops if you want.
Trago Mills I can talk about
Top 5 supermarkets.
Top 5 things I've bought in Trago Mills.
Yeah. All right, but James is the drummer on my upcoming EP. Well, he did the drums on 2 songs. Yes. But if I knew about you sooner, you would have done drums before that. Nothing against you, PD. Sorry.
Oh, he's not happy.
But it would have been a lot easier. But yeah, I just want to, first off, just to get into your history then with music, because I didn't know how far then you went back with it, with the whole thing with your dad and the radio and stuff. Just
so it was weird because I've always been around music. My dad, I don't know, you would call him a mod punk metal.
Sick.
He likes
he was
everything.
Cool.
Yeah, he loves Zappa, he loves Bowie, but then he loves Motorhead and Ozzy and all, Sabbath. So I've been around a lot of stuff growing up, and where he's been in radio and been, like I said, around music, I sort of got not dragged into it, but followed him into it. If he went to the radio, I'd go with him. If he went to gigs, I'd try and go with him. And they had a live music thing there. And the one day there was just a drum kit, and I was like, ooh, that's quite cool. And it was getting mic'd up, and I can remember playing it. Yeah. Got recorded, and I was like, I want to play drums.
That's so weird. How old are you when that happened?
8, 9, maybe.
Really?
Yeah, it must have been. Yeah. It must have been, because I started doing lessons then when I went to comp, and I was about 10, 11 in comp then.
Yeah.
So, so.
Did you have lessons all through comp, or did you quit at a certain point? Because I quit.
Yeah, till I think, so I wanted to play drums, but year 7 to year 9 was just, I can get lessons by you. Yeah. I can play drums and have some fun. Yeah. And learn how to read music, but I can get out of science. Yeah. I can get out of English. I could slack off for a bit. So I just, started doing that, and then I really got into it. Exams come along, and then I stopped doing it in school and did it private for a year. Yeah. And then realized, I wasn't doing exams, I was just getting taught how to play drums and sort of read music. But I just wanted to play instead of learn. I just want, and so after private lessons, I can just teach myself the rest. Yeah. YouTube was the thing. So I didn't. Yeah. I'm stuck. I'm still at 16-year-old me of drumming at the minute. But
yeah, no, I'm with that with the guitar. I stop at a certain point. I'm I'll just play along the songs.
I don't need to. I can just play a 4/4 and I can play it fast and slow. I don't need to know anything else.
That's class. Yeah.
But that's more or less where.
It was always funny in like primary school and stuff when people used to play drums there when they used to do the lessons, because like every Friday they would be like, all right, now like whoever's learning drums this week gets to like play a little song for the assembly, and it was always the same, like
I can remember in comp, like in our key stage 3 sort of thing, I was like one of the only ones that played drums.
Yeah.
So anytime we had a music lesson and I'd walk in and see the kit set up and I'd be like, oh no. So I know what you're gonna do. Everyone's on keyboards and stuff and doing all this. Yeah. And then she comes over and she's like, you haven't got to do the piano. Just pretend what you're doing, and then your piece can be on the drums. I'm like, I've been playing like for like a year. I'm not really like, I haven't got a kid in the house. I play at lessons. Yeah. So I'm like, this is going to be dreadful. So it's just like everyone playing, DJ, and all these other sounds. And then it's just me just making a racket for 2 minutes and then thinking, yeah, that's enough. I'll do. And they're all like, yeah, that's good. And I'm like, nope. Yeah. No, that was terrible.
That was always kind of like whenever I jumped on like a drum kit, it was just like, I'm just going to whack the hell out of them. And just like, it probably sounded terrible, but it was always, when I have played them, it's always been like the funnest time I've had playing an instrument.
It's brilliant. I didn't really like until I sort of went to college and I was playing like drums flat out all the time. Like I did music in college, and it was just playing drums more or less religiously, apart from like 2 days where you did like the theory and like production and stuff of music. It's like that was just every day playing drums, and they made a college band, and that was just every day playing drums. So I really like got into it properly, and like 10 million blisters on my hands at the same time. But I think that's where I really learned to play drums, and then properly realized that this is what I want to do. Like I want to be a drummer essentially.
Yeah. So what was it your dad did at the radio station, and what radio station was it?
It was BRFM. Now BGFM. It's like a local radio. He did radio shows, but they also did, I think it was called The Vault. And they did like live sessions. Petey knows. Petey knows.
I can see those eyes glazing back.
Known this man a long time. He won grey last time.
Oof.
Oh, bald. But
I take grey.
But so like they did The Vault, and like so many bands come in from everywhere, like just playing live shows all the time, and they'd get set up, do a live set, and my dad would do the interview of them in between the set sort of thing. And for the first bit of it, I would just take my Xbox, go in the other room on the telly and just play the Xbox, and then after a while then I was like getting more interested in how bands were setting up. How the things were getting set up, how they'd play, how the interview would go. And then I'd go from going with him and just playing on the Xbox to going with him and then watching the bands. And there's so many bands.
Do you remember any like cool ones?
I can't remember any of them, but now and then if I'm with my dad, he'd be like, oh, these played EVI. No, EVI. That's another one. These played BRFM. And I was like, did they? And he's like, yeah, they played like years ago. And like they was getting out the back of a car with all their gear rammed in the back and like rushing in, and like they had so many there.
Yeah.
But I think it's just you see a different side. Like you listen to music on the radio, you listen to this, but when you see it, people being played live and people getting interviewed and people like, all the mics going on and everything getting set up, sound testing, you're like, you realize there's a different side to it, and that people are doing this for a living. And because I think if you don't know much about music, but you hear on the radio, it's just a thing that's there in the background. It's not, you don't think too much in depth. But I think that's what started me onto it.
That's cool. So how long were you going like with your dad to like the radio stuff and just watching all these like different bands come in and play and like interview and stuff?
It's a few years. Like I said, like when I first on the drums and stuff, like that was like must have been about 8 or something. Yeah. And I think he was there till I was about, he was there before that obviously, but I think till I was about 11, 12.
Okay.
And then he moved on then to EVI, as I said earlier, in Ebervale, which was like a venue. Yeah. And he was running the bar, but also put on the events there. So again, then that's even more bands coming in on sort of a bigger scale as like a live music scale in front of people and stuff. So you see another side of it, and then that's that's when all that came around, as well as the college. I was like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah. The EVI holds a special place in my heart purely because in one of the first band I was ever in, that was where we used to practice.
Yeah, rehearsal room.
Yeah. So like, I think there's still pictures of it somewhere on like Facebook or something of me with this really crap red Ibanez Geo electric guitar that I bought for like 100 quid or something in Cranes in Cardiff. Rest in peace, Cranes in Cardiff. They don't do music and stuff there anymore, do they?
No, they not like be like, oh, my dad was the one, but he left and they just starting after COVID and all.
Yeah.
And I think they don't want to take the risk anymore of like getting stock in for the bar, getting stuff in for this, getting the door staff if people maybe won't come.
It's such a shame because like those college gigs, like I never played them because I was never in a college band or anything. But like my younger brother did one. Like he was in a college band. He played one of the gigs there, and like it was pretty packed in there. Like it wasn't empty.
I played my first gig in EVI. Like I think we'd been rehearsing for like 2 months, and we was like, yeah, we are ready. We've got like 5 songs. We are we are tight. We are ready to play a gig.
And it's always like the first 5 songs you've written as well. And you're like, good.
We had no more songs. It was just the 5 songs. They were like 3 minutes long each, and we were like, this is brilliant. We're definitely gonna like. It was like a Nirvana tribute band, Nirvana UK or something like that. It was, and like it's gonna be great. It's gonna be brilliant. And like, my dad was like, oh, I might not be made. We sold loads of tickets. Like, it might not be loads there. And he was like, yeah, no, that's fine. Like, we're playing a gig. Yeah. And they sold a lot on the door. Yeah. So, like, there's probably like 80 people there.
EVI. How many gigs did you do in EVI? Was it just the one?
No, I played loads. So, that Nirvana one was the first one. And then I did like 2 or 3 college gigs there. And then we did 2 the 1 year.
Yeah.
And then like anything we could jump on really. We was like, we'll play it. That one college band stopped after the first year of college essentially. Like we all did different courses. Yeah. And we just like, sort of just different things, didn't have time for it. So I started another one with some boys I knew. I went in college. Was I in college? Yeah, I wasn't. It's like I said, different course. But we just had the band, just like a grungy, very Nirvana band. There's only 3 of us, and that was the same thing. We wrote like 5 songs like Yemen gig, and we did loads. To be fair, I think we played 3 or 4 at the EVI. Yeah. And then it was anyway like we played Fuel, Club Everbach. Yeah. We supported Hands Off Gretel in Club Everbach.
That's cool.
And I'd never heard of them at all at the time. Like, but I was like, yeah, this will be good. And my dad was like, oh, I sold out. I was like, no, we're not ready for that. And it was really good. Like it went incredibly well. Apart from the fact that our singer was under 18, so as soon as we finished, we had to leave. Yeah. Didn't tell us that till we finished the set. Packed everything down. And he was like, "How old are you?" And he was like, 17. And he was like, "Oh, you've got to go." And the 2 of us were 18. We were like, "Oh, brilliant. Okay."
Yeah. What were they called? I love college band names. What were they called?
So the college band. So we had the college band, and then we had the one band like we made with college people. The college band one, I have no idea. We had like 3 or 4 that we just played different songs in and just did different things with. The main one that we did, the first proper band I was in, was called Lost at Sea. And
not a terrible name. There could have been a lot more worse.
I know, but like, it was awful. Like at the time you're like, this is amazing, and then you listen back to it, like, what were we doing? And it was just so weird because like I'm like a pop punk drummer. The one like lead guitarist was very Foo Fighters and stuff. The other bassist then was like sort of indie, sort of pop punk, and then you had the singer who was essentially Miles Kennedy. Like it just didn't look right on stage. You had 2 of us in like black skinny jeans, white t-shirts, and Vans. This other one in like checkered shirts, and this guy with a waistcoat and a trilby.
No, I get you.
But then we had that grunge band, and that was all right. And then I didn't do much for a while after that. Still did drumming now and then. Kept on. But I sort of fell into jobs, and I was like, I haven't made it yet, so I'm not going to make it now. Like I was like, that sort of got in that mindset, and and then from working, the job I'm in now, then met some people, and COVID happened, and we was always on about like for like a year. We was like, oh, we'll make a band, and then in COVID, the singer of the band then I was in most recently, Coaches, he just sent like a file with like 5-6 songs in and was like, listen to these. And I was like, oh yeah, they're really good. And he's like, cool. He was like 10 more songs, listen to these. And I was like, you got too much time. He's like, we're in a pandemic. I'm not going to do nothing else. He's just writing songs with GarageBand on his iPad. But yeah, that was like the latest thing I'd done then, and it was really good, to be fair.
Yeah, you just like unlock the memory for me, like, because in the first like band I was ever in, I think we didn't have a name for the longest time, but I want to say we ended up calling it like the Array or something. But I left purely because of the reason you just said, was everyone was on like a different wavelength.
Yeah.
So like I was just a guitarist in that band, like I wasn't a singer or anything. So I obviously, me being like kind of like you, like a pop punk kid or whatever, just liking Green Day and Blink and stuff. And the bassist was similar to me. We was in the same mindset, but then the drummer for that band was much more like, I just love Iron Maiden and like that side of music. And then the singer was like, I really love Ed Sheeran. And we were like,
it just doesn't,
this does not work.
Gel.
So like there used to be band practices we had where like we would go from playing like Holiday and like St. Jimmy to then me and the bassist Jordan going off and like sitting on a couch, whatever, as the singer would whip out an acoustic guitar and sing Ed Sheeran for like 3 songs, and we just have to like sit there and watch. And it did my head in, and I left.
I think the best one were like those rehearsals where we'd be like, right, we'll warm up, we'll do a cover song. And especially when we first started, we was like, right, what are we going to play? What do we all know? Yeah. And it's like, well, I know this, this, and this. And they were like, I don't know that one. And then they'll say stuff and we're all like, no idea what song that is.
Yeah.
Like the one guy wanted to do like, one was like, oh, let's do Alter Bridge. I'm like, no idea. Yeah. Not listen to him. And then the other one was like, oh, we'll do Everlong. I was like, I'm not drumming Everlong for 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a warm up. I'm not. That's going to kill me off before we start. But
yeah. No, that experience for me was when like everything I've done after that, I've always kept like the band members to like 3. And it'll be like me, a bassist, and a drummer, because like you can get away with a lot with just that. And obviously with like the bands that like we both like, it's always that setup anyway.
3 or 4, yeah.
I always get scared of like a 4th member coming in, because then I'm like, we got it good going with 3 members now. We're all on the same page. Like, are you going to be on the same page? Or are you like, oh, can we play like Ed Sheeran or something?
I think that's what happened with like, you know, the college bands, they were 3 or 4. Yeah. First band was 4. That one we done was 3. So when I did Coaches, it was 5. Yeah. And originally it was just...
That terrifies me, that 5 members.
It was just me and the singer, right? And we was like, oh, we'll just do like a 21 Pilots. We're like, I'll do the drums, you sing and do like bass, and the rest will just back interact. Or like, we'll use pads, or we'll do this, we'll do that, and we'll just see how that goes. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. And then his brother played guitar. So he was like, yep, let's get him in. That's another guitarist, but we were worried about that part of it. And then because Jake wrote everything, but he's just a singer. So he doesn't play nothing live. He just does the singing live. Right. So when he recorded all the demos, he'd do like a drum machine drums on, say, GarageBand. Yep. And then he'd record the bass, record the drums, record the vocals, send it over, and I'd just mix it on GarageBand to what I thought, like, is good. I have no idea what I was doing. I was just like, that sounds good. Yeah, that'll do. Just dial in. I didn't no idea what these things did. I was like, well, that sounds all right. And so when like eventually we got to 5, and it was a bit weird because there was like so many of us. Yeah. And like we used to rehearse in one louder in Newport, and like if we didn't have the big room, which we sometimes did, if we had the small room, it feels like we're just packed in there. And obviously where it was COVID, they had like a screen there and a screen in between. So it felt like it was like in like office like things where
that's weird.
You're all boxed off from each other.
Yeah. I remember with the whole like plastic screen things during COVID, the first time I saw that, they still got it. They've still got it there too, which is really weird. But do you ever play Jack's in Aberdeen?
It's the one place I've never. I've played like a lot of places around here, but I haven't played.
Yeah. It's a really cool place. We played there a few times, but like since COVID, the drums are on like this little platform behind, which was like fine as it was kind of thing. But now they got this like big plastic like window around them. And you're like, all right, it's just after COVID. I kind of makes sense. But like, if you look at pictures and stuff and videos, it's still there. And it just looks like they've jailed away the drummer into like this one corner of the room. So like the sticks can't go flying or something. They'll bounce back.
So when you see like church and gospel drummers, they're hidden away in this little box.
Yeah. It's weird, but it looks cool. Like when we first saw it, I was like, that's because our drummer used to drop sticks all the time. Yeah. So we were kind of like, thank God, now we won't get like hit in the back of the head or something.
Not too bad at dropping. It's not so much dropping sticks, it's snapping them. So like, if I'm moving around really quick, I'll hit the rims, and it's just like there's half. And so I'm going another one, pick that back up, and drumming with half a stick, like flip it round to the other end. But
so being like a pop punk boy, who would you say is your like biggest inspiration for drums? And I don't want you to say Travis Barker.
Nah, he's I've always like respected Travis Barker, to be fair. Like, if you watch the things he does when he's drumming, it's insane.
Oh yeah.
Like I just can't understand how he does it sometimes. And he makes it look easy. It's just it's mental. Drumming wise though, there is quite a few. Treacle was the first obvious one. I had Bullet in a Bible, the DVD. Kings. I had that.
I bought that on iTunes. I watched that every night before bed.
I don't know how many times I've watched that. Yeah. And just seeing him play it live and like how effortless and how good and how punchy it sounded. So he was definitely one of them. So I tried to be him for a while. Yeah. I think growing up then and more into my teens was just like Eddie Thrower from Northern Atlantis. Mm-hmm. He's an incredible drummer. Dave Grohl, I think like obviously listened to him in Foo Fighters, but then appreciated him as a drummer.
I love Dave Grohl. I would argue Dave Grohl might be a better drummer than he is like guitarist and stuff. I love him on drums.
But yeah, going back to that then again, like Taylor Hawkins is brilliant. I think they were like the main ones. Like there was Travis, to be fair. Yeah. But I think I'd look at Travis and be like, I'm nowhere near close to that. I'm never gonna.
It's way too intimidating.
If I practice 24 hours a day, I'm not gonna be that good. Like I haven't got the coordination in my hands to do that. Like,
you don't think you could go on like a platform that gets leveled up from the arena?
I could do
it. Tilting and
could do it, just nowhere near what he does. It's be a 4/4, but I'm just turning upside down. But But then I came remember my dad was like, oh, look at these drummers, and he gave me some drummers, and it was like Ringo and all these different things, and he showed me Lars Ulrich, and I was like,
you're not look at Lars as
nope. What is this? Like he's playing, and I'm like, this is shocking, and then the video on the side is like the top 10 like fails of Lars Ulrich live, and it's just
some of them are brutal.
How the hell are you such a big drummer? Like
some of them are brutal.
He's in a massive band, and I've never been a big Metallica fan. Like if I listen to them, they're quite good. But I think a lot of songs I listen to, I focus on the drums before anything else. Sure. That's the one thing I'm listening out for. Like, and if I listen to Metallica, I just get annoyed straight away. I just get so annoyed straight away.
Have you watched the Metallica documentary, Some Kind of Monster?
No.
Because that whole documentary is like, it's kind of about them making Saint Anger, was that the album? But that's kind of like the backdrop to the rest of the documentary, which is Lars against James, and it was just those two just fighting, and like James was like, crazy on like alcohol or whatever it was. He was losing his mind. Lars was losing. Well, Lars, I wouldn't even say Lars was losing his mind, because he seemed to be like sober through the entire thing. He just picking fights all the time. But that's a real fascinating look to the way that band works, and especially the drums. And the drums on the album Saint Anger is insane anyway, because the snare sounds like they're hitting like a dustbin or something outside. It's the craziest sounding snare I've ever heard. Because normally, like, I listen to an album, and because I'm not a drummer, that's not something I'll hear it if they do something cool. Yeah. But I'm not listening to like the sound. Whereas like a guitar, I'm like, what guitar are they using? What amp are they using? Like all this stuff. For drums, I'm just like, sounds cool. That album, I'm just like instantly, I'm like, what?
What's he doing?
I have no idea what's going on. I don't know how they got that sound. I don't know why they were like, that's good. That sounds good.
Yeah. I think crazy. That's the thing. Like, I've listened to like drums first singing songs like only recently I've like listened to some songs I've listened to years, like Hot Mulligan and Arm's Length. Like I had one of the Hot Mulligan songs on, and I know it's like I've never heard that guitar bit before. I've never heard this bass bit before, and it like sticks out more than anything.
Yeah.
And then like listen to it, and then the drums slowly fade back in.
Yeah.
And it just it's like if I see bands live, I watch them, but I'm just keen eye on the drummer all the time, constantly. Like, what are they doing? How are they doing that? How are they playing it? Like, how are they going around the kit? And
I'm always like that with guitarists. And I like to see what pedals they're using. Like, if it's a cool sound effect that I haven't heard before, I'm always kind of like trying to see what they're using, or if they're using like an amp that like I use, and I get really excited. I'm like, oh, I know, that's a good amp. That's a good one. Telling my missus has no idea. She's just like, okay, cool.
When you go to a gig and the drummer has your cymbal, you're like,
yes. I'm just as good as them.
Didn't even tell him to get that one.
To circle it back to Lars, I don't think Lars is as bad as everyone makes out, because I don't think Metallica would have got to the success that they had with a bad drummer. I just think he has bad moments a lot. I just think, and they're usually live, to be fair, and I don't know whether it's, I don't know what it is. It's usually live, because I think in the studio stuff it's usually fine.
Yeah.
Apart from Saint Anger.
I think you just like, I think if it's your favorite band and you can still listen to them and you know whatever, like you're not going to pay attention to it. I think looking from the outside, we not feel like they're not, you know, you're not liking the band much. You're just like, oh no.
Yeah.
It's just a painful watch sometimes.
But I'm glad you brought up Trey Cool, because like I feel like Trey Cool gets overlooked a lot when it comes. Trey Cool reminds me, I guess, a little bit like Ringo Starr, where it's like technical wise they're not Travis, but like they can keep a beat, and like they just both have so much fun just playing drums. Yeah. And half the time I like that more than someone who's like really technical. Like if I can see you having like the best time possible playing, it's all that matters.
I think that was the thing with Trey. Like he's got so much energy on stage, and like he just doesn't care.
No, boy's like what, 50 now or something, and like he can raise his legs high. I've seen him do the can. Like I can't do that. I saw
him in June. Even then he was just so fun. Like
I was really happy when I listened to I think it was Revolution Radio, because I feel like the trilogy didn't do Trey that much service. Like I don't think he really stood out, but Revolution Radio, I feel like he was back in it. Like the drums were like really punchy like they were before.
I don't know if it was Revolution Radio or it must be, I think it was after the trilogy, because he went to like South America to do Rudiments and get taught like tribal drumming and stuff. So he wanted to do more. And,
of course he would.
Yeah. Because, you know,
that makes sense. I won't even question it. Yeah.
And, but yeah, I can't remember which album it was, but he went to like South America and to learn like rudiments and all these different techniques. And
well, I think Mike did a similar thing for Revolution Radio too. I want to say he started taking like bass lessons again or something like before that album came out. And that's always cool too, because especially when you've hit a success to like Green Day have and stuff, but the band members are still like, I'm still like learning.
I'm still learning,
stuff. That's really cool, and it's really nice to see. You band Coaches. Mm-hmm. Did you just have the one EP? Like, did you have another one planned, or like was that the be-all kind of thing? I listened to it over the weekend. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I got a standout too if you want to hear. Yeah. I liked Weight of the World a lot. That one was my favorite. Yeah, I made a note.
It's fun to play, to be fair, that one.
Yeah.
So obviously, like, we had all these songs, and I think in total, at the minute, in terms of Coaches, we've got like 20, 25 songs altogether.
Yeah.
We made an EP, like demo EP.
Yeah.
It was like the pandemic tapes, we called it, and why not? But yeah, like we put like 4 or 5 tracks on there, and they were just garage band tracks. Like I mixed them the best I could. I think it was on SoundCloud. You can like master tracks for premium.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I'll do. So like, we picked the ones we wanted to do. I mixed them really quick on GarageBand. Like headphones in, headphones off, headphones out. go in the car, play it. Yeah, that sounds all right. Come back in and like listen to that way. And I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. SoundCloud. And then you like play all the options. It was like cool, like bright and stuff. Like they give you 4 options and you can do the sensitivity of it or something. And I was like, mess around with that and then send it to everyone. Oh, send it to Jake. I was like, how's this sound? And he was like, yeah, cool. I was like, cool, no worries.
Did they actually sound alright from being mastered from SoundCloud?
They sounded fine. I think I've still got on my phone. They're on our SoundCloud, but I think they're private.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But yeah, it was the original track of Dreamers, which sounds quite similar to me. There's not much difference on it. It's Control Us, which we didn't record, which I wish we recorded because that's the favorite track. Well, my favorite track that we've done. I think Wait the World was on it, Dreamers, and we had 5 altogether. Control Us was the only one that we didn't do, and so we put that out, and then we was like, we want to record this. We just sort of saved up, went to the studio in EVI, recorded the 4 tracks, and then put it out, and it sounded really good. And we was like, right, we'll gig everywhere with this now. We'll do everything. We didn't. We did though go with This Feeling, the promoter, and I think we played 3 gigs in Cardiff. We did an album release show in Abergavenny, and sold that out. It was a tiny pub, but that was quite nice.
That's still cool though, considering that's like your first
release. It was free entry, but the band is named after the pub, the Coach and Horses. So we was like, oh, we got to do the album show there. So we did that, and we played all our songs, a few covers. We did another show in the Labour Club down there, but I think that was free as well. That was quite nice to sort out because it's the first gig I've ever put on myself, completely single-handed, and got all the venue. I was like, if we do a show, we'll bring everything, all the gear, we'll do everything, but we do free entry. You don't pay us, and you just take everything on the bar. Can we do that? And they was like, yeah, absolutely. And we wouldn't bother about getting paid or not for it. We just wanted to play a show to people, really. Yeah. And I think we had 80, 90 people there, and that was quite nice.
That's sick.
We had a band from Cardiff called Pacifica. They supported us. I know another local band, some guy from town as well, did an acoustic set. It was a really nice gig. And then we did the festival in Abergavenny. So it was a good time in the band, to be fair. We had to switch of members a few times. Yeah. And then it just we cancelled the one gig in Cardiff. Quite last minute, to be fair, and that's it. It just sort of stopped. Yeah. From there then.
How did you get involved with a promotion team like This Feeling? With did you gig before that one, or was it just you just did the EP and then was like, we're good to go?
We did the EP. Our first gig in front of the people was the This Feeling gig. The first live show that we did in front of anyone or anything was in COVID. There was this scheme called Keep Wales Alive, and it was in, I have no idea what it was, somewhere.
That's my favourite place.
I love it. I love somewhere. But we went there and they had this sort of TV studio setup thing for bands. There was 5 bands they asked to play. Come different times of the day. You couldn't go in the same time as another band because of COVID and all this. But it was cool because we went there, set up, and then we had our own little green room. And one guy kept coming in, was like, "Do you want tea? Do you want biscuits?
That's really cool. Yeah.
Do you want this? I'm going on the McDonald's one. Do anything?" And it's
that's wild. That would have gone to my head. 5 Big Macs.
But we was all just we haven't played a show yet. This guy's bend over for us, sort of thing. But,
that's crazy.
Yes, we did that, and that was cool. We had it sent to us. We did 3 songs, and they're all different camera angles, top different, that was cool. But This Feeling, so Ratio Studios, that was it. And so we This Feeling, I emailed them and just said because I saw a lot of bands coming through them that I knew mutually through people, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And they I saw they had a stage in Isle of Wight festival, so I was like, sick. Oh, I want to play Isle of Wight. Yeah. So I emailed them saying if you've got any gigs come in, or anything, can you let us know and we'll play them? And they go back, I think it was a month later or 2 months later, and it's oh, we're doing a show in Cardiff if you want to play it in the Moon. I was like, yeah, absolutely. And yeah, they just say to you like, well, I think you get a basic pay rate of like £25, but if you sell over £25 worth of tickets, you gain more on top. It's something like that. I can't remember how that works. But they can either send you the tickets or they use Skiddle.
Right.
And people book on there, and then they send you an email every week then, like, you've sold 10 tickets, you've sold 20 tickets.
Yeah.
And the first show we did was really good. Like, we sold like 40 tickets, took loads down, people stayed down, and that was a really good night.
Yeah.
Second show we did then was sort of like, there's no one here.
Yeah.
This is brilliant.
Yeah.
And in fairness, there was like no one there, but we played with a band called Candid, who are like getting huge at the minute. And they were really nice. It's like a band from Coventry, but they're like selling out like little O2s in Birmingham. They're doing really well for themselves now, and they're like really nice boys. And so we did that, and then the third time we cancelled on them. So they're definitely good to go through for exposure, because if they can see you pull in, they'll be like, okay, we'll move you out of your local zone and you can play a gig in London or you can play a gig in Birmingham. Yeah. And then if you see the pull there, they'll be like, all right, we'll put you on one of our festival slots. Yeah. And then like they've got their own festival in Burnham-on-Sea or something, I think it is. And they do have like 20 bands there. Like, they're good to work with, but at the same time, it's sort of like, am I wasting my time with it? Because like, if you're not getting the pull sometimes, or they're a bit demanding, to be fair. They're like, you need to sell more tickets. Yeah. You need to get more people here. And like they keep bothering me with emails. But if you want gigs, like it's quite an easy way to get a gig. Yeah. But it's you and like 5 in the band. So it's not pressure on you, it's pressure on everyone. So you can sort of guarantee a crowd, but how big, you will have no idea. Really. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't worked with that many promoters, and the ones I have worked with have been terrible. Yeah. like real. I want like, I don't want to name them and like blast them and stuff, but there were 2 that I worked with down London way, and I only actually there were 3. So there was one big-ish one that were also promoting stuff that they were doing, like Isle of Wight Festival stuff. Yeah. That's the only, like, I think I signed up for them through there. Like, they had a website sign up, and I just wanted to get in that competition and be like, fucking get us in. And then, like, whoever, like, worked for them, like, was emailing me being like, we got, like, a list of gigs available, like, which one do you want? So I was like, oh, I'd go for that one. And then they were like, well, how many people can you guarantee can come? Yeah, and I'm like,
that's the one.
I don't know. I'm like, it's like a 3-hour drive, you know. I can't, my missus, maybe a friend, I don't know.
It's a 3-hour drive that I don't want to drive to, so no one else is going to drive to it. Like.
Anyway, after that, it shut down. They were like, whatever then. Yeah. And they let us crack. Even though the guy was like, oh, we'll try and get you like acoustic gigs or something first and like build up a kind of fan base there and then move from there. And I was like, all right, sounds cool. And then I never heard back off him. I had like phone calls with him and stuff as well. And then I had like another gig down London that was like sorted out separately from all of that stuff. But whilst it was such a weird timing, whilst I was down there, I had another phone call from another promotion company in London. And they were like, oh, we saw you were on this other website. See that you're playing in London. Like, do you want to do a gig for us? And I was, because at the time I was like, oh, London's where you got to be, like that's where you got to do for the gigs and stuff. So I was Camden. Like, Camden's a place. Yeah. So I was like, like we'll do it, let's go. And like I think we set up like a gig for like 3-4 weeks or something. We were sorting something out, and they were like, all right, to play this, like you don't need to sell X amount of tickets, but if you don't, then that might change like the date of when you can play or like the lineup and stuff. So I was like, basically it's a pay to play thing. If you don't sell them, you're not like playing.
Under all the layers. Like.
Yeah. So I was like, well, I really want to play it. So me, Kevin and Sam lied and sent them our own money. Yeah. And we were like, oh yeah, here's like, because they would send us like 10 tickets, every, I think it was longer than 3-4 weeks. It was a couple months. So they would send us like 10 tickets every like month or something, or maybe 30 tickets, and we're like, sell these. And we were like, yeah, sold them all, send them our money. And I think at the end of it, we ended up sending them like 90 quid of our own money just to play this gig, like, because we just wanted to do it. we got down there, and it was so awkward because like there was a guy on the door with like a list of like names and stuff, and he was like, right, so who's your guest list? And I brought my partner with me, Sean, and I brought our friend Chad. And he was like, anyone else come in? And we were like, don't know.
Hopefully.
Yeah. But I remember like one of the phone calls I had with the woman arranging it. I explained everything to her. And I was like, look, we're from like South Wales. Asking people to drive 2 or 3 hours is like a lot. Yeah. Especially when like we still play here. So like, it's like, I don't think it's going to happen. And they were like, she was like, don't worry, I'm sure you'll sort it out. It'll be fine. And that was when we started sending them our own money.
Yeah.
But I think we basically played to like the other bands that were there because there were like there was 4 other bands playing, I think. And it was such a hassle and waste of time. They wouldn't even let us use our own amps because they had stuff on the stage, but the stage was like they had like these really crappy practice amps that they mic'd up, and they were like, you got to use that. There's no room for anything else. So I was like, all right, fine. And so we did that gig. Nothing came from it apart from then another promoter in London got in touch with me, and this is when like I just gave up with them completely because I can't remember like the company's name. I just remember his name was John, and same thing. He'd email me like a list of gigs available, and we did one in this place called Cargo because I was like, that place looks banging. It looked really, really cool. So. Same thing with it. I emailed him this time around. I was like, look, if this is a pay to play thing, I don't want to do it because I was burned out from the last one. So I was like, if you're expecting us to sell X amount of tickets, like we're just not going to do it. Yeah. So he came back and he was like, nah, don't worry, we don't do that stuff here. And I was like, okay, fine. And then like a week before the gig, he goes, oh, how many people are you bringing down? And I was like, I've already told you, like I'll bring down like my partner and like a friend or something. But I was like, I can't like bring anyone else down. So he was like, all right, fine. And we did the gig, and like empty room. There was no organization when we got there. Like we got to the place, and as cool as it was I think it's shut down now, but as cool as the place was inside, there was no one there like organizing it. Yeah. So like there was like 3 or 4 other bands there that they were just going up and playing like whenever. There was no like set times or anything. They were just like, like one band would end, and then like we'd like look around, and then another one would be like, well, we'll go up. So we ended up being like the last ones to play at like 10 p.m. Yeah. The only people that stuck in that room was the singer, his girlfriend, and like another member of their band from the last band that played. We played to like 3 people, and it was so dumb because the way the venue was laid out was like it was like a nightclubby type place, but then they had like this back room that was this huge, like really not huge, but this really, really cool like live music segment. But the way they sectioned it off was by a curtain. So you could still hear every single band that were playing in like the bar area. But like if you wanted to get past the curtain, they were like, it's tenor. And I'm like, no one's going to go. We literally saw people, right, stick their heads through the curtains and then go back. And they're like, well, obviously they're not going to come in. It's a tenor to walk here when they could stand there and listen to it all.
It's like a toll booth for a border. Like, it's like
I know.
If you want to come in, you have to pay money.
Honestly, man, it was that after that, I was completely burned out and done with any promoter in London.
I think I say the best is a way to put it. The best venue I've ever played in is the Duke in Neath.
I've played there.
You played the Duke?
I've played there. What a weird venue.
So
Such a mad place.
We turned up, right? And we were driving there and it was like, I can't find this place. And
because there's no sign.
Weird corner for it. It's like on a bend, right? Yeah. So we pulled up, went in, and I was like, it smells a bit funny in here.
Yeah,
Floor's like the stickiest thing in the world, right? Went to, and it's the dark, everything's painted black for some reason, right? It's black and dark wood and the stickiest floors in the world. And it's just one guy at the bar and he's like, you right? I was like, yeah, we played a gig and he'd load in. He's like, bring her in, come on. So I looked at the stage just like, I don't know, a foot off the floor or something, right? And I was like, great. And then we pulled out the everything in, set the kit out and stuff. And he's like, oh, we got a house kit, don't worry. And I was like, oh yeah, if it saves me, check it out. And he got this like ancient, I think it's older than the dinosaurs, out from under the stage. And I was like, cool, okay. Yeah. And all like it's like missing lugs. Yeah. And like the feet just won't stay on the floor and stuff. You're like, it's terrible.
That's so mad. Like I almost had the exact same story with like the introduction to this place because it's got no sign outside. You don't know where you're going into. So we walked in thinking it was the place. Same thing. All the lights were off. There was one person behind the bar and one woman like mopping the floor. And we were kind of like, so, like, oh, excuse me, like, is it a gig here tonight? And she was like, yeah. And that was it. And we were like, all right. so we just gotta like put our stuff by the stage and waited for like the other bands to show up that we were playing it with, and then they came through the door and we were like, we don't know what's going on, but it's kind of creepy. That place has one of my favorite videos of us playing live. We played Dancing With Myself, but the Blink cover of the Billy Idol song. There's not a real guitar solo in it. It's a part that goes... I was playing that, right? Some guy, long hair, drunk out of his mind, comes into frame on the video and he's just air guitar in the air and like his tongue is out and stuff. He is completely gone. It's one of my favorite videos.
I just remember going in and we was like setting everything up and we was like, right, we need mics. And this guy walked in, right? The sound engineer walked in. I was just thinking, like, oh, we're going to have a decent sound engineer. He looked like Einstein. This guy come in, right? He was like short, stumpy, like grey beard and like slick back, slick back. And we was like, great. And he was like, I give you some mics now, boys. He was stoned out of his mind.
Yeah,
right?
The place stunk a weed last time I was there too.
I went in the toilet seat is in half. I'm like, all right. I remember like, he's like, oh, the box of the mic's under. I was like, right, no worries. So I got this mic. I look under, and it must be like that thick of dust under there. And I'm like, that box is like older than anything. Like, it may as well be made out of wood. Like, I go plugging it in, and I was thinking, I haven't burnt down yet. If the dust is going to catch fire more than anything else. Yeah, the Neath is a real weird place. The one thing I did find really cool about it, though, is like, the Neath, the Duke. It's almost like a relic from like a bygone era of live music, because it's one of the rare places where they still got like stickers everywhere. It's the sort of thing, if you've been in a band in South Wales, you've played the Duke. That's that sort of place. Like,
it's a fascinating place. I've never been there since that first gig.
I'd play there again if I had the choice. I'd be like, yes. I'd want to pack the Duke out because I think it would break the place. I think that many people breathe in would bring the roof down. Like, they got a pool table at the back, right? Like, I remember like we went there. And like we were all like 16, 17, so we only had like Pepsis and Cokes and stuff. Because even though it's the Duke, they still wouldn't serve us drink, right? Yeah. Fair play to them for their licensing laws, right? But we went there, we like stood in the pool room, and I just looked up, and like where they've had a leak, and they've got like a polystyrene roof. It just dipped, and I was like,
any minute.
I dare you to press that. It's like getting a drumstick tapping it, like it's got to come through now. It's just the weirdest place in the world, and I would absolutely play there again.
I think some of the best gigs that we ever played, honestly, were all in like Swansea. Yeah, Swansea's got a real cool like. Oh, I was really confused then. Swansea's got a real cool like live music scene still to this day, and even the venues they have are real cool. I've
been to gigs in Swansea, like I've been to Sin City a load.
Yeah, and that's the one place I've never played, but like I've tried.
I've been Bunkhouse.
Same place with that, yeah.
But no, I've never played down there. I've played Cardiff. I've done Newport, Bristol. Yeah. Abergavenny. Yeah. I think that's it mainly. I played a lot in those places, but that's the only place I've played. Yeah,
I think Swansea is probably the place we were at the most. I think, and like we didn't play Bunkhouse or anything, but like we went to, I don't know if you went there. There's a place there called Crowley's Rock Bar.
Yes,
another really strange looking venue. Mm-hmm. Like you got to go up these real narrow upstairs to get there. Yeah, but like. And it'll be dead when you first get there. And then for some reason, it hits like 10 p.m. And like this huge crowd of people will come in every single time. It's the weirdest thing. I've never experienced it anywhere else. But like, and they'll always be up for anything. Any song you play, like they just love it. I love Crowley's. But I think the coolest place we played in Swansea was... Hangar 18.
Hangar 18.
What a venue. Such a cool venue. That was the first time we had like a green room and stuff. Yeah. Because usually like you just get ready in front of the stage. Like you put your stuff there. Yeah. But Hangar 18, like they got like these big flights of stairs and stuff. And they got a big green room. And it was such a cool place and like a real cool gig.
I think like in terms of like coolest places, I think the Fleece in Bristol was pretty sick.
I've heard of that place. I've never been.
Yeah, so it's like really old. So like we go to the city centre, and if you're going like sort of out, if we know where Brewdog is in Bristol, it's over that bridge, straight down the road and turn right. That's essentially how I know to get there.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's really old. It's been there ages, but like inside, there's just pillars everywhere.
Yeah.
So like literally, it'd be like a meter, and there's a pillar, then there's a pillar, then there's a pillar, and it's such a cool venue. It's only like 300 capacity.
Yeah.
And we played there, but it was like it's when I was in that first band I was on about, and they just sort of they'd done this thing where they'd get 5 bands. Similar to this feeling, but it's not a promoter. It's more of a showcase for bands.
Yeah.
And you can't sell tickets, but they do get a crowd in. But we went there and we had like the green room upstairs, and you walk upstairs, there's posters of it. Like Muse have played there, and these have played there, and everyone has played the Fleece.
Yeah.
So that was quite cool.
Because then you feel like you're on like the same road. Then you're like, they've played you. Yeah, I get you.
Mate, I'm gonna be headlining this now.
Yeah.
And then but. No, it's such a good venue, mate. Like I like I said, I've never played Swansea, Cardiff I played, but the Fleece was amazing, to be fair.
I've only ever played one place in Bristol, and I really don't remember the name of it. I remember the gig being really weird because like the first band that were on were like a family band, but it was like the dad and the mother were singers, and like their kids were playing the instruments and stuff, and we're like, this is weird. Like we've never seen this before.
Some sort of fever dream.
Yeah, it was really, really weird. But like that was like they started off everything, so that was weird enough. And then I remember, I think we played, and because there wasn't that much space there anyway, after we played, we took our stuff. We were like, well, let's chuck it back in the cars. Yeah. We'll come back down to like watch the last band that were playing. And we got back down there, and they'd locked the doors. We couldn't get back in. So I had a message on Facebook, and I'm like, I'm really sorry. I'm like, we wanted to stay, but we're locked outside. Like, we can't get back in.
Sorry, mate. No, you're done now.
Yeah.
Once you leave, that's it.
Yeah, no they must have just watched as soon as we walked out. Lock the doors. We can't let no Welsh people back in.
Get them out.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the first and only time I've ever played there. But, I mean, I'll play Bristol again. I'll do the Fleece. We'll do the Fleece.
Mate, the Fleece. If we can get a gig in the Fleece, it is amazing. Same with like...
We'll do it.
Where's the other place? Like Club Overback is amazing.
Yeah, same with that. I've never played that either.
I played... like I said, Hands Off Quite All was the downstairs, and I did like this drumming showcase thing, which I'd done through... It wasn't quite a gig. It was just sort of... We learned to play one song with this one person, learn how to do live things. There's quite a lot of people there, to be fair. And that was the upstairs bit, which was really good. But there's so many venues I want to play. Like there's Coco in London. I'd love to play there. The Great Hall in Cardiff is one of them. I think I've seen so many bands there. I want to play it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you get those dreams, and especially when you go to the venues. They're like, I could do this.
It's like Motorpoint Arena in Cardiff.
Yeah,
like, there's the O2. Yeah. I don't care about the O2. I've been to Motorpoint and seen so many bands. I want to play there.
Yeah, no, I get that. Especially when like, if I'm gonna go see a band or something. If it's like at an O2 Academy, an institute, like Motorpoint or something, I'll always like. I'll watch the opening band. Like they're the ones I watch the most, and I'm like, I could do this. Like this, I could be the opener.
I have seen some support bands being like, I can do that.
Yeah,
like some support bands I've seen, I'm like, nah. I remember seeing Fall Out Boy in Cardiff, and I think it was like Matt and Kate supported or something.
Yeah,
and I was like, what's this?
Yeah,
it was just like half hour of torture. I was like, are they playing or are they just hitting each other with drumsticks and guitars? It was just the two of them, just jumping around the stage. I was like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I get that. That just. I think it mostly comes from any time I just watch anybody play. Like anytime there's a gig, I'm just like. I could do that now. Like,
but then I get the same thing where it's like, okay, I'm not enjoying this. It's not for me. But they've done it. They've got there. Like they're doing this. And I'm not you know. But yeah.
I mean, sometimes you get really lucky, and there'll be an opening band that you're like, oh shit, like where have they been like all my life?
So many, mate. So many. So like this Hot Mulligan, Arm's Length, I found through supporting. Moose Blood was another one I found through supporting.
Yeah.
There's so many bands that I've been like. seen them on a lineup announced. So I'll give them a listen, and then I look forward more to them than I do the headliner sometimes.
Yeah, there was the most recent one for me was me and my partner Sean went to see it's a group, but it's one guy called I Don't Know How, and like his opening act was this band called Balancing Act, and I was like, I have no idea who they are. And they came on, and you know, I think it always takes me a song or two to warm up to an opening band because already I'm annoyed that it's not me. So already I'm against them. Yeah. So it takes me like a song or two to warm up. But they were class. They were like really, really good. So much so that like we're gonna go see them again in October.
Yeah, I've heard of them. I've never listened to them live. I've heard of them.
They're really, really cool.
They pop up on stuff sometimes. Yeah, I see them.
They're really, really cool. They do some real cool stuff with the guitar that like it just sounds. I like weird sounding things, so like they'll do some weird stuff with like pedal work or like the guitar sounds haunting on a few songs, even though it's like a love song or something. It just sounds. This sounds cool, and they're the ones that get me in. There's like 2 songs of theirs that I really love. One is Cheshire Smile, and the other one is Before I Shoot. Those are the 2 that I'm like, you want to listen to those. Yeah. That's like a good introduction. To circle it back a little bit, to talk about coaches, you said you had to cancel one gig.
Yeah.
How did it like end after that? Was it a case of like you guys just like do you still talk to them? Like
yeah. So like, you know, I still work with the singer Jake. Like we're still really good mates. Like we, you know, since then we've still been best mates. Like you know? And yeah, it's just one of those things where like we cancelled the gig, and I think we had quite a few people buy tickets for it, and like they were looking forward to it, and then it just sort of I don't know how to explain it. No, it's sort of like not went down a hill, not really turned sour. It just faded from it. Yeah, like you know, we're like I still talk to all of them, and we're still all fine with each other. Yeah, like, there's nothing really gone sour. I think it was sort of a little bit of a not even fallout really. It just again faded. Like I get you. We just sort of stopped doing it, and we're still open to doing something. Whether or not we'll do that again, I don't know. I feel like I think the worst thing with our band is we had so much underneath us that we were doing, and we had like, you know, like our track got on BBC. Like we was on,
the documentary that was cool. That's like, really cool.
You know, that was on BBC One, and we signed up with PRS. We got this done. We was doing loads of stuff. We had plans to do loads of stuff like other albums. We had like 30 songs. We're like, we'll do this. We'll do music videos. We'll do all this. Yeah. And then since that gig, we just sort of backed off heavily from it. I think since then we just didn't really pick it back up. Like, you know, we're still getting, I think, like 50 streams on Dreamers a month. Like on Spotify, we're still getting that frequently, like that frequent play. And
that's a good song. I made a note of the song in Dreamers, and I just put The Cure. Yeah, because that's what it reminded me of.
He's a big fan of The Cure. But no, like that song, like he wrote that in like no time at all, essentially. And he was like,
that's where I always find the best ones come from.
And he was like, how's this sound? I was like, it's incredible. And that was the demo. And then once we recorded it and we heard it in the studio coming together, we're like, this is sick. Yeah. And breaking it down layer for layer, we're like, this is amazing. Yeah. Once we got the mixed track, we was like, what? Yeah. This is insane. Like, this is so good. And then, I feel like we didn't realize what we had, so we didn't quite run with it. We got too comfortable in a spot, so once something bad happened, we're like, oh, that's it, then we're done. Yeah. My band's in a weird place now, because like obviously like same thing, like none of us falling out, nothing's turned sour, nothing. It's just kind of like, I mean, if I'm honest, it kind of started with COVID. Like that was like a massive like bullet to the head kind of thing, because like we weren't gigging all the time, but we were gigging pretty frequently. Yeah. If it wasn't every weekend, it was like every other weekend we were out there doing stuff, and I was messaging people all the time, venues, other bands and stuff, just trying to get whatever. And then because when COVID happened and all that stopped, we originally was like, we can still like get stuff like recorded or something due COVID. At the time, we were recording in Unit 13 in Tredegar, which is no longer, rest in peace, Unit 13 in Tredegar. Yeah. But we used to go there.
And then they were like, we're not allowed. Like, we got to stay closed through the entire thing. So that we couldn't even do that, you know. So we literally did not do anything for about 2 years. Yeah. And then we started to come back and do stuff maybe not last year, maybe the year before, I think. But it was to nowhere near like the extent of what we used to do kind of thing. Yeah. Mostly because like I fell a little bit out of love with playing live for a minute because it's you don't really see that return on investment all the time. No. And like I was losing so much money playing these gigs, and a lot of my time was spent on finding gigs because without sounding mean, I was the only one really looking for them. Yeah, so like same. In my evenings, my afternoons, whatever, my weekends was spent looking through a list of venues and being like, right, I'll email these, I'll message them on Facebook, Instagram, and I think that was like stuff.
My days off was just like, right, I still got them bookmarked on my laptop. Like I said, apply to this label. Yeah. Once record's done, apply to this label.
Yeah, I used to do the same exact thing.
I'd email like 30, 40 of them, and I'd be
you
like,
never get a reply.
Or you get a reply off one, and they'd be like, no thanks.
Yeah.
We're not looking for this. Yeah. Or like, you know, like I'd look at bands I like Lowland Atlantis, because I know they're big in their scene, but they're not a big band. Yeah. So I'd be like, who's their first record label?
Yeah.
And I'd be like, right, are they still going? Email that record label. What was this one? Like, there's one called No Sleep.
Yeah.
I think they're in America, but they've stopped going now. They finished like, I think it's this year they're finished, and they're doing like one more thing and they're finishing. And I think I emailed them like 10 times. I was like, listen to this. And then
it's just heartbreaking, it, when you don't get that response, and it's just kind of like, well, then why am I even doing it?
I think the worst thing at the minute is I've seen this one band that they applied for labels. Like, they've got a decent following on Instagram, to be fair, but they uploaded a video of them having a phone call off this record label, and they were like, thanks for like getting in touch and all that.
Affleck's Palace
might be.
I've got a fucking bone to pick with them, and I've been going at them a little bit. Yeah, carry on.
Yeah, the video I saw, and it's just them on the phone. I might be them, I'm not sure, but he's on the phone to
because I've seen them do it as well.
And the guy is like, oh, we don't take like
unless you got 50,000 followers.
Yeah.
It's them, because they also did text messages and stuff as well. This is a tangent, but my biggest problem with them is, so I think they're posting stuff like that just to get a reaction out of people and be like, oh, well, then I got to follow them because I want to help them and stuff. Yeah. My biggest issue with them recently is because I didn't care about that stuff. If anything, I saw those videos and I'm like, oh, well, that's just like a target then that I've got to hit. Yeah. Even if it's real or not, I'm like, well, if I get a 50K, let's see what happens.
Gonna follow it. Yeah.
But they posted a TikTok, and I thought it was so dangerous because they were like, here's how much we spend on one song, and like you said, they're not a huge band, they got a decent following, but they're not a big band, and they broke down every single payment they make for one song, and at the end of it they were like, one song costs us $7,000, and I'm like, one song $7,000, like, what are you paying for?
Who are you paying?
Yeah, so like I watched that video and I got really, really angry because I'm like, if a new artist or musician watches that and they're like, fuck, it costs us $7,000 to make it. Yeah, pointless me starting.
Yeah, literally. It's like the thing that the Spotify CEO said when he was like, content like at the minute costs like zero, and it's like, no, it doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't cost zero.
Okay, so like time, well, that's not free because you've got to work and you need time off to yourself. The equipment does, like, that costs money. So again, that's not free. Yeah. Like, okay, ideas are free, but
yeah, no, it was crazy. They were like,
that's it, like, you know.
It was like recording $1,000, music video $2,000, PR plugger $1,000, and I broke it down because I was like, look, I know companies you can go to, like PD does a lot of stuff with Tune Media, and the cheapest PR and plugin package you can pay for on those is like £100. Yeah. So I'm like, don't worry about the $1,000. If you want a PR and plugin thing, pay for that. Yeah. Music video, again, you can book this place for like £40 for 2 hours and use the cameras here. Just, that's not $2,000.
Yeah,
it's crazy. And like, I got really upset because I was like, I don't want anyone like.
I think that's what's so like thing with the music at the minute, like the industry, is social media is such a big thing at the minute.
It is, yeah.
It's like, if you're not, the sort of thing is, if you're not big on social media, you're never going to be big in music anymore. Like,
nope.
I think that's what's so thing with people. Like, that's what's stopping people. And, you know, like going back to like Spotify, like, it's the biggest thing in the world for music. Like, people use it all the time.
You know, the craziest thing with like social media and stuff is like the bands that like I'll read about that get big without even playing a gig. There's, I think, was that Welsh? Neck Deep.
Neck Deep, yeah.
Where they were, I was reading about them before, and it was like, they just posted their song to like some music site. I think it was 2 songs they posted, and it blew up, and that was it. They got signed straight away, and I'm like, that's insane.
I think it was so great. Like, so Neck Deep, you know, back to Lone Atlantis, Death of Havana, they all come out in the same scene, and it was when like any band that put a song out that sounded sort of different from rock at that time, they were like, "Yep, you're the new one. You're going on the Warped Tour. You're going around. You're doing it.
Peace.
You're doing everything. Like, that's your plan now." And then they just made it. Like, Neck Deep are huge now.
I know.
Like, absolutely huge. And like, and then there's other bands that didn't quite make it that are coming back.
Yeah.
Like Mallory Knox did really well, but now they're coming back again now.
Yeah.
You know,
it's crazy to see a breed of kind of music artists or bands or something where like they've never played live.
No.
Or like do you have Disney?
I've got it, yeah.
There's a documentary on there about Camden. And it's
I've seen
fascinating. It is fascinating because they go through everything. They got the old artists all the way to the newer ones. And like when they tell like the old artist story, like Madness or something, and they're like, Madness are like, oh yeah, we basically became like the house band for this pub or whatever, played here every single Wednesday until like a record scout came in and was like, you've packed out the house, like, let's go.
Come on, you're good.
And then like when it gets to like the new artists, none of them have that story.
No.
None of them will talk about, I played this place, whatever.
They don't play the Duke.
None of them played the Duke. They don't understand. But they're always just like, they never, it's so weird. They don't not once talk about like how they got to where they are.
Yeah.
Apart from Dua Lipa briefly mentioned on there, she was like, I posted a couple of covers to YouTube and then had like some record label guy email her and be like, do you want to come down to the studio tomorrow?
Song, right?
Yeah.
It's just the music. I think the industry now, mate, is you either get incredibly lucky with someone at the right time sees you, the right person, right time, or you need to somehow gain like 50,000 followers and then be like, listen to these.
Yeah.
Like it's not. It just doesn't seem like there's, like you said, like the record scouts, doesn't seem like there's many of them going around gigs anymore.
No.
They're all online now.
Yeah.
So like, unless you've made a really cool music video, unless you've got a song which people have been like, oh, this is cool, and it's all over TikTok.
Yeah.
Like people are like, nah.
But that's the thing. I don't even think what you need to be making anymore has to be good.
No.
I think it just needs to catch on.
I was seeing with going back to Spotify. I hate Spotify. I still got it. I'm not. Spotify is like I can't, because I rely on music a lot. Like music gets me through the day a lot.
Yeah.
And like I've used Spotify that long. I know what's on it and I know where to find stuff. And like my phone's an Apple, so I'm like, I'm not using that, and I'm not using like Google Music. Never tried that. I'm not gonna. But it's so like everything's on there, but the algorithm is like you've got so many like new bands putting stuff on there, you know.
And they're just like, here's Sabrina Carpenter's new song.
Yeah, saving up all their money, and they're like, right, we've just spent $1,000. We've made this album. It sounds really cool. We've just like spent ages making this cover work.
Yeah.
We've done all the names. We just made our own music videos. We've uploaded all of it to Spotify, and this is brilliant. You go on there. Oh yeah, listen to Espresso. Listen to it's Brat Summer. Listen, and it's like great. Okay, so instead of listening to like new bands, which could be my favorite band, who could be playing down the road, and I could go see them, instead I got to listen to Sabrina Carpenter instead because Spotify says you need to listen to this.
Yeah, well they've got that, like the creator or the owner of Spotify, like was in like some kind of like court hearing or some crap, and he was just kind of like, he basically admitted that they have like basically like a list, and they have like a top 10 of like performers, and they'll push those performers, but they are the only performers that are really making any sort of money from Spotify, where like the rest of them could be whoever. And like Snoop Dogg has like talked about it, and he's like, I'm seeing nothing come from Spotify, and he's getting like crazy streams, but he's not in that exclusive
it's like
top 10 list.
I uploaded the like our Dreamers EP. I uploaded that through like DistroKid, so it goes everywhere.
Yeah.
Like that goes everywhere then. And I think overall of all the platforms, Spotify, Apple, Deezer's on there.
Yeah.
Like anyone's used Deezer.
My brother, believe it or not,
Deezer?
my brother. So this kid, it's a weird tangent. My brother, I was asking him one day because I was like, "Oh, what are you using now?" Because he was on Spotify for a while.
Yeah.
And then he was like, he was like, "Well, your songs are on Deezer. I listened to them the other day." And I'm like, "Why use Deezer?" And he's like, "It was a free trial." So I used it.
Deezer is like Voldemort in that film when he's like the little thing on the floor, and he's like, "I'm still here." Like it's like Vivo when Vivo was around. Like remember like my old iPod is like Vivo. It's like listen to Pitbull.
Yeah. Do you remember? I don't even think music videos do it now. Do you remember every YouTube thumbnail where they'd have Vivo in like the bottom right corner?
I can remember. I think it was like was it 21 Pilots, I think, and then it just disappeared one day. It's gone. They changed it. It's not on there anymore because like it disappeared.
What a crazy time.
But no, the mad thing is now with Spotify is like there's AI music on it. And I think like a lot of like there's like 148 playlists with AI music on, and it's like, why are we paying like 12 quid a month or whatever it is to listen to music and it's AI?
I upload all my music through TuneCore.
Yeah.
Because they do a really, really good subscription thing where it's like 16 or 20 quid a year or something, and you can upload anything and it goes everywhere. It's the cheapest thing I found, because I used to use another one called Record Union, and they were way more expensive. But yeah, I had an email from TuneCore like earlier in the year, and they were like, "Oh, do you want a song with Grimes?" And I'm like, "Not really, but I'll read the email." And they were like, Grimes has let us use an AI version of her voice, and if you want AI Grimes to sing on your song, you got to pay us like 50 quid or 100 quid or something. And I'm like, why? Why would you do that?
One, I don't want to do that, and two, no.
Because you can't even say that, "Oh yeah, I got Grimes in a song." You don't.
No, you don't.
You got a robot that sounds like Grimes. Like it's such a weird time to make music and stuff with AI. It baffles me.
I think it's when you go on things and you see like people making like country songs with AI, and it sounds so realistic. Like apart from some weird lyrics, but like the music in general and the voices, you would not be able to tell. Like
it's weird. I've used it a few times but like only if I'm like having fun. If I'm like, write a country song about dicks and like my brother gets like beat up all the time, and then I'll play it for him. Like it's about you.
Screw you.
But like that's the only time I've ever used it. And like they give you, I think the website was called like Udio or something, like UDIO. And they'll give you like 30-second snippets of a song, and like some of them sound crazy, and especially the ones where you can write your own lyrics to them as well. And like the crazy thing is like sometimes if you go like, I want a punk rock song from like early 2000s, and you give it lyrics, and they'll give you like two different versions, and you can listen to them and you're like, this just sounds like Green Day. like you can hear it, even the singer, and like I'm like, that just sounds like Billy Joe. Like I have no idea how they get away with it.
No, that's the thing, see, and like once you made that, it's not copyrighted, so you can be like, I made this.
I know.
Yeah, this is mine.
It's bizarre. I know.
AI drums.
Mental
double bass pedal. Exciting.
I think a few months ago, I gave it like a prompt. I can't remember what I wrote. I think I put like alt pop song or whatever, and I gave it like a first verse and a chorus from like a few of my songs, and some of them I'm like, oh shit, this is like better than what I did. It was pretty good.
Robot's better than me.
It was a real humbling experience. I was listening to it as I was walking my dog, and I was like, oh jeez, why didn't I think of that? Like, this works.
I'm rewriting this song.
Do you think then, like with social media and stuff, do you think it's as important now as what it like used to be, because you had like the heyday of live music in like you know, the 2000s, the 90s, even before that, like where like that was what you did on a weekend. You would go to a show, you didn't care who was playing. You're just like, I'm going.
I think that's the difference. I think, not saying that in like the 80s and 90s, you know, early 2000s, I don't think it was easy to get big in a band.
No,
but you had more crowd engagement with it. Like, you'd have more people at a show. Like, there's more people going out, and there's more people doing this, and you know, no one's stuck to their phones and Disney and Netflix and you know.
To be honest, I only realized it maybe a week or two ago, I think. But like, because I was getting really bummed out about the whole like, you know, no one going to like live music and everything, social media and stuff now. But I realized it really, like, from now to what it used to be, like, it really isn't that different. It's just a different means of going about things now as a musician. So whereas before, the main goal was playing gigs. That's all you did. Play gigs. Play.
Yeah.
And after a while of playing gigs, you'd build up a following, and hopefully they would go to your gigs, and you'd like pack out places. And then the more you pack out places, then a record label guy would come in and be like, yeah, here's like an audition for the label, or we sign you. Now, I think it's the same thing in concept, but you're not playing live. You're not doing gigs. You were just on social media.
You're trying to get the content out to people instead.
Your gigs now are just videos on social media.
Yeah.
But like, you will just push that now like crazy, and hopefully you get a following on social media and create a buzz about you, and then a record label guy will come to you again.
I think that's the thing. Like 10 years ago, there was gigs everywhere. Like, you know, up the road, Ebervale would have gigs.
Yeah.
Constantly, flat out. You know, Abergvenny would have gigs. Cardiff would just be mental. Like, Fuel, the Moon, every single night.
I mean, you look, the biggest one would, I never been, and I'm so gutted that it closed, but like TJ's in Newport, which is like closed down now, but like the bands that played there, like Muse, Green Day Nirvana played there, and like it's just gone. Gone. That building, I think the building's there, but it's like derelict. There's like nothing left. Yeah, it's just a weird thought to be like, because like live music now, this is why I kind of like, I fell out of love with it a little bit. Like I love it when I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I hate setting them up. I hate the admin side of things. I hate sorting out days, times. I hate getting to the places. It drives me mad. Like it sucks so much of the fun and the energy out of everything. Like if I could pay someone to do it, I would.
Yeah, just turn up and play. And
that's all I want to do. I just want to show up and play, even if it's to an empty room. But like the one thing that I've kind of like started doing or stumbled onto now is like if I just do one gig every now and again, and I just milk the hell out of it.
Look forward to it.
Yeah, but and I'll push promotion I'll like focus on just that one gig. I'll promote it like crazy. I'll video it as much as I can on the day, so then I've got like content to upload on TikTok and Instagram, not so much Facebook, but you know. And then I just try and make the most out of one gig rather than play multiple, because like the amount of times where like, you know, because I was always the one driving. Sometimes Sean would drive, but most of the time it was me. And like you drive, I don't know, an hour, 2 hours to get to a place, and it's just empty, and you kind of like
knocks you down a bit there.
Yeah, and like why I don't need to. I could go home. It would not make a difference.
It's like when you're doing the sound check there, and you're like, it doesn't matter. Yeah, like you get that sort of like you know, but
it just really becomes like what. You could just phone it in. I could go home, and it just would not change how this night would end for like, because there's no one here. Like when we did that last one in London, where I was like, I'm done. Like it was an empty room, and like it's a 3-hour drive to get there, providing you don't run into traffic. Then you got to drive through London, because I think the place was in like Shoreditch or something. So like you got to drive through London to get there, and wait till 10 p.m. Play, I think we did like an hour for no reason. There was no one there. It didn't matter. We did an hour, and then it was packing everything up, and then 3 hours home, and like getting home at like 2 or 3 in the morning, waking up at like 6 the next day for work, and I'm kind of like, I'm dead.
Slept.
I'm dead. And like what I get out of it? Nothing.
No.
I got nothing.
I think it's a difference. Like like 21 Pilots. I saw a video the other day about them, and it was them on about how they started. I think it was like the interview was from when like Blurry Face came out, so it must have been like 2013 time.
Yeah.
And it was like, how did you get big? And it was like, we just gigged everywhere. Like he said he emailed like 100 venues of promoters, and one person would answer, and they'd be like, yeah, can play here. And he'd be like, yep, straight there. Yeah. And they'd play that. And then he said they like got a following. And then, like you said, eventually someone from Phil by Ramen were like, yeah, that's quite cool.
Are they still around?
I think so. It's Pete Wentz, isn't it?
Is it?
I think so. I think he's got shares. I don't know if it is his. Is like a subsidiary of like Warner or something.
Because I feel like at one point, like every band was on Fuel by Ramen.
It was like that one tour. It was like Fall Out Boy, Pan in the Disco, and 21 Pilots. Like that sounds incredible. To be
Paramore was on them as well at some point. That's crazy. I don't know. I don't pay attention anymore to see like who's on them or not.
I think that's a big thing that bands are doing now. I think they're like doing their own labels, or like
I've noticed that.
Like A Day to Remember, like they had their big thing with the record company. They wrote like $5 million in royalties. Yeah. And they took them to court. They won. Yeah. But then instead they just ditched ties and done A Day to Remember records. Neck Deep's got their own one. Like 1975 Dirty Hit. And like,
well, that's another interesting thing with like social media and stuff now is like the importance of a record label, because like because record labels, like I understand new artists might need them and stuff. I mean, if a record label comes to me, I'm not going to say no. Nope. But like, they won't sign you unless you're already building a following and they can see, you know, stuff starting to crawl in and stuff, and you're starting to make a bit of a noise. To work with and, like they won't start from scratch anymore. They won't take someone that they just like the sound of. So they already want someone who's got a bit of a following, and then they'll just try and build upon that. But I'm like, if you already got like a following going, and you can see that increasing anyway, like how much could that, like you could probably carry on your own and like be fine. Like the one rapper, Joyner Lucas, he's not on a label. He just does everything by himself, and he's just as successful as other rappers out there, you know. But it's just, I don't know, it's just always fascinating me because I know how much they can help, and I know how useful it is to have contacts and stuff in those. I think that's the biggest part, is like the contacts and stuff, and like being like, you know, oh, we can get this person doing your artwork and stuff, and like we've got partnerships with this like tour management team or whatever. They'll get you on their stuff, and you're like, cool, I just got to sit back and do nothing, which very record labels I will do. I'll sacrifice everything. Please. If you will do everything for me.
If someone could carry my drums into a gig.
Yeah, please. Yeah. I mean, I just got to carry a mic stand. If you want to carry, I'll do it. Carry my mic stand.
I think that's the best thing. He's carrying like, like floor tom in this arm, you've got a snare under this arm, you've got a gig bag there, and you've got stuff under you, and you're like, I'm sound by somewhere.
Yeah, I used to help. I used to feel so bad. I used to help our drummer carrying his stuff to gigs, but like I didn't have a clue how to set him up, so I would put him down, and then I just gotta stand really close and just watch him. So I'm like, I'm done. I just gotta like plug. I just gotta turn it on, and I'm good to go. Like, and I would just be like, do you need any help? And he's like, no, it's fine. I'm like, thank God, because like I don't know where anything goes. The worst thing is when you sit down, you're like, yeah, hit the strings out of tune, you're like. Especially after a drive, you're like, no. And then you're looking for a drum key, and bear in mind you've got like 20 million drum keys, but you can't find it till you need one. So like you're looking around, you're like, I can't see one anywhere. Like, and then you're thinking, what can I do? And you've like watched like YouTubers of drummers. Like it's this one guy called like R. David R. He does these like builds drums, and like all tips and tricks and tips and whatever. And the one is like always carry a pair of pliers, because if you haven't got a drum key, use pliers. So I sort of grip onto it. And I was like, you've got the pliers. That's when we started panicking. And then we played that one gig we played in the Moon. I didn't have a drum key, and my snare sounded awful. And because like, it's not a good snare anyway, but I couldn't like tune it. And I was hitting it. He's like, swap your snare. I was like, I haven't got another one. He's like, use the house snare. Only time that they've had a good kit. It was like a Tama Superstar. I like went in. I was like, I'm sick of this home. I want to take this home. I dig Moon. They're such a cool place. I got one story about my drummer, and it's my favorite story from my drummer, because he's a lovely boy, Sam. And he's just, he he likes playing gigs, but as soon as he's done, he's like, I want to go home. Like, I'm done now. Like, I'm tired.
Yeah,
just want to go home.
I've been there.
And I think it was the first gig we played in London. And when we got there, the other bands there were like, oh, do you have 20 quid on you? And we were like, what do you want 20 quid for? And they were like, oh, we all got to chip in to pay the sound guy. So I was like, all right. There was ATM across the road. So I went out there, took out money, came back, paid him. And we all carried on talking. It was me, Sean, Gethin, the bassist. And we were like, where's Sam? So we were looking around. He was just gone, completely disappeared. And we went out, we looked at like the ATM to see if maybe he thought he had to give money to. Gone. And we were like, where's he gone? Like, we were it's the first time we were in London. So we were like, how could he go missing kind of thing?
Yeah.
So we this is before we played, right? So like we left the pub, looked down the street, looked up the street, nothing. Couldn't see him at all. I went around corners, couldn't see him. And we were like, where's this boy gone? Wasn't answering his phone, nothing, no texts. He just gone. And like, we were out there for about 10 minutes looking for him, scouring like the nearby streets, shops, nothing. And then as we were stood outside, I looked down the street, and about 200 to 300 yards away, he was strolling back up the street with a fucking kebab in his hands. Oh, sorry, boys, I just got hungry. And he didn't tell us where he was going at all. He just went off, got food. A kebab, came back. Such a good. I love that story.
Yeah.
He was funny.
Yeah, I haven't played a gig in London. I do want to play a gig in London.
They're good, but like, if I'm honest, I would only go back to a gig in London if I knew it was worthwhile.
Yeah.
Like, if I knew that there were going to be people that showed up, if I knew that like it was well organized, if the promotion was decent, if the bands were decent, and there was no like funny business going on.
I think there's only so many times like you can get messed over. Like
in London, yeah, because you're factoring in like traveling.
It's like fuel, mate,
yeah, that as well.
Like
that included, and it's kind of like I like, you know, I just didn't want to do it anymore. I'd go back if I knew it was like a sure thing. If I knew it was going to be a good one, and I could see the return then of like, even if like I didn't get like new people following the page or whatever.
Still play to people,
if I could play into like a fairly packed room, I'd be happy. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
But I think we did 3 gigs in total in London before I was like, this ain't worth it.
No.
So then we just kind of focused on Cardiff and Swansea, but we didn't get that many in Cardiff. The only place we really played in Cardiff was it was such a weird place. It was called, I think it's still there. It was called the Buchan, Andrew Buchan.
No idea.
So we got it because I think some other bands were playing and they messaged us to play it. So we were like, all right, cool. And there's no stage. You were just playing on the floor.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But like, you're on the floor at the back of the room. So like you were right at the back by the fire exits with like down this like narrow corridor, you know, as far back as they could push you kind of thing. And you're just playing down there. So like no one can really see you, but they can hear you kind of thing.
They know you're there.
Yeah. We played there like 3 times because the owner liked us. But I think he only liked us because to be fair to him, he would give us free drinks. And because Gethin was always the one who never drove to these gigs. So like the owner would just be like, try this lager, this is new in, try this one. And Gethin was loving it. Gethin was like, I love this place, boys.
This is brilliant.
Yeah, even now if we talk about it, he's like, oh, gig down the Buchan again or what?
Had more beers going or what?
He loved it down there. But yeah, it was I think that's honestly the only place I've ever played in Cardiff.
Yeah, like, I've done a few in Cardiff. Like I said, nothing in Swansea. I would like to.
Swansea's class. I really like Swansea.
Yeah, like it's quite a few. I got quite a few links, even though I hate Swansea. Football reasons. Football reasons I hate Swansea.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Swansea as a place is lovely. Swansea as a team could just do one.
Thankfully, I don't pay attention to football, so I'm like, yeah, all right, yeah, fine.
Yeah, no, it's 9 months of my life is ruined by football. By millionaires kicking a ball.
Yeah, on one side of the field to the other.
That's how my life goes for 9 months of the year.
Do you have any like standout gigs from when you were either with coaches or like one of the other bands you played with? Is there any like you're like that one's my favorite?
Yeah, it's probably either the one we done in the coach in Abergavenny or the one we did in the Labour Club. I think it's because they were like hometown gigs. We sort of like people in the town knew we were in the band, and there was quite a lot of like traction on Facebook with it.
Yeah,
and I think the people in the pubs that we went to knew us.
Yeah,
he was like, "Oh, they're gonna come. They're not gonna come," and people were interested. And the fact that they both got quite busy. Especially the Labour Club. I think the Labour Club might be the one because I sort of set that gig up. Like I sort of decorated the stage a bit as well. So because like our album cover was, it's actually my brother sat on my living room floor with a guitar and stuff. I think we took that picture on a Polaroid. Yeah. And that picture is me taking a picture of the Polaroid, get all the pictures in and then cropping it and all that. So I tried to set that stage up. So I had like Facebook Marketplace. Yeah. And I was like, right, I need a fat old TV. Got that. Need something to put it on. Got that. Put like an Xbox, a GameCube, all these things in the middle of it, the TV. And I set on a stage. And on the stage of the TV, it was like flickering through like things I had made or the AV thing on the top. And it was all stuff. And that was really cool.
Yeah,
and,
that is cool.
So I was like really proud of that. Got all that sorted, all the LEDs on the stage and all the lights. And I was like, this looks sick. I hope people turn up. And people did. And it was like, it was such a good show. It was like 4 or 5 bands. And yeah, I was driving. No, was I driving? I wasn't driving, no. Because it's the first time I tried Newcastle Brown Ale. And I was like, I'll try it. And I was like, that's disgusting. It's not that bad, actually. And after 3 or 4 of them, I was like, these are really nice. But yeah, packing away that at the end of the night wasn't very nice because it was freezing cold that night.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's just people that you see around town that like you sort of know, but see them come to a gig that you never thought they would come to, and they're just jumping around and dancing and just things like that. Like that was really like nice to see.
I had a little moment like that in the Doll's House in Abbotsleary.
Yeah.
When I think that might have been one of the last gigs we played last year, and it was really cool because I had people show up from like college and stuff that I hadn't seen or spoken to in like years, but they were like, "Oh, I just saw it on Facebook," and it's like nearby, so we just popped down. I'm like, "That's wild!" Like that's so mad.
It's weird when like you've got sort of like close friends that you know will come, and you know that will make an effort, but then when you got people that you do know that you are friends with that turn up, and you're like, "Oh, okay." Or you see people that you just know that you're not really friends with, and they pop up, be like, sick, okay, this is cool. And then again, even more when you see people you don't know, you're like, nice.
It's always nice when like the best compliment I'd ever had from a gig was it was in Crowley's, the last time we played in Crowley's, and some guy came up to us and he was like, "Oh man, like sick set, like it's like." He was like, it's like SoCal punk. And I was like, thank you. Jesus, finally.
The best one we've had. We played the Dragonfly in Pontypool.
Yes.
And it's quite a few there, to be fair. It's quite a few there. And we was in the grunge band, right?
Yeah.
And the singer had like a cardigan on, long hair.
This
is going. And sounded very much like a certain grunge artist, right? And we finished the gig and this guy was like, yeah, that sounded amazing. He said, you sound just like Kurt Cobain and look like Kurt Cobain. I've never seen anyone so pissed off in my life. Not like literally with his guitar, I just stormed off. And I was like, cheers, mate.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, with the guy he was like, oh, it just sounds like SoCal punk.
Yeah.
And I was like, thank you. And then he was like, he goes, do you have any T-shirts? And I was like, what? And he was like, are you selling T-shirts? I'm like, no one's ever asked us once if we had like any T-shirts to sell. So I was like, we don't. But I'm like, you're the first person who ever asked.
Yeah, now I need to make some.
It was just really cool that the idea of someone would be like, I'll wear your band in a shirt. I'm like, that's cool. But yeah, on about like you sound and talk, sing like Kurt
Cobain. Kurt Cobain, and I've never seen anyone so annoyed in my life. It was honestly just like, nice.
The amount of times I would get there for like, you sound like Billy Joe Armstrong. And at first I'm like, yeah, that's class. I love Billy Joe Armstrong. And then you hear it for like the 50th time and you can see it. Like someone comes up to you and they go, you sound, and I'm like, yeah, go on, say it. Like, you like Billy Joe Armstrong? And I'm like, yeah, I know. Thank you. I get that it's a compliment. I understand that. But like, this is the 50th time I've heard it. And at this point, I don't think, at this point, I'm like, honestly, for a while, I was like, I'm never going to escape it, like no matter what I did.
I think that's the luckiest thing with drumming is no one says you sound like it's drums.
yeah
they sound the same, mate. Doesn't matter how you put it, they sound the same. Unless I like play it 200 beats per minute and flip it around the kit. Travis Barker. Otherwise it's just like unless I play really bad, it'd be bars,
You also need a couple more tattoos before you get the Travis level. Shave the head. Get tattoos on that.
Everywhere. Checker flags and stuff.
For the longest time I really didn't think I was gonna escape like the Billy Joe, especially because of the music that we played in the band as well. I get it. It sounds like it. I think I've escaped it a little bit with the solo stuff. Like I don't think it's as noticeable, but I think it honestly comes from like when I was learning how to play guitar or when I was learning how to sing, I was playing and singing along to like Green Day songs and stuff. Like you said, like with the whole Bullet in a Bible thing, like that was on all the time.
My entire like drumming style is from Green Day. Like I like the easiest songs to play, like Know Your Enemy, Wake Me Up September. They're so easy to play on drums, so that's why I learned. And Biffy Clyro, to be fair. There's another one. But yeah, I think that's where I get a lot of my like inspiration from, and they're not quite that technical. No. So where I learned them, trying to play like I can play some Blink-182, but other stuff, like, no chance. Like, it's so technical. I'm like, I know how it's played. I know what hit at what time. I just can't. Like, that's...
It's really cool because, like, with you on about that, with, like, you learn playing the Trey Cool and stuff, and, like, with similar kind of, like, music taste in that respect, I remember... It was so cool. I remember the first time you came in when we were recording. What's the name of my song? The third song off the EP. I can't remember off the top of my head. Living a Lie. That's what it's called. I remember when you came in for that, and I think after like the second time you went through it, like once you understood like where everything was, I remember looking at Petey and being like, oh, he gets it. Like I was like, I don't know how, but I was like, in my head you understood like what I wanted it to sound like without me having to say anything. And I think it is because like, you know, it's the similar we learned how to play the instruments playing the same kind of music and stuff. Like I remember the craziest part for me during recording of that song was the part after the chorus where like the main guitar doesn't really change, but like I was like, right, I want to add that little riff part there, and you played the drums differently to make it so the riff fit in on that place now. And I was like, I didn't even say anything. I didn't say a word to you about it, but like you just like understood. Like
we listened to, innit?
It was so weird.
I remember coming in because I was like, because I hadn't played drums in not a long time, but a while. And like now and then I go to Newport and I just practice on my own and play covers and, you know, just keep on it, like, so I know what I'm doing. But yeah, like I come in, I was thinking, I haven't played to a click track in ages. I haven't done this for ages. I haven't done this for ages. I was like, I'm going to mess this right up. And then as soon as I listened to it, I was like, yeah, that's okay. Listen to the first time. I was like, yeah, that's fine. And I was like, yeah, sound.
Yeah, it was crazy. I've never experienced that. No,
it was. Yeah, I think that's the thing with drums. Like, I listen to quite a few genres to be there, like mainly those ones. Like, at the minute, I'm just obsessed with 21 Pilots. I have been for years, to be fair.
Do you have a favorite album? I do.
Mate. Yeah. I don't know. Trench is one of them. But I think it's because I think the times you listen to some songs, like how you're feeling, what you're going through, I think that's what sticks with you more. So like, Trench is like one of the ones that do stick with me. In terms of like songs in general, it's probably Vessel. Like I love Vessel so much.
That's my favorite. Like that's my favorite.
I love it. Like
see, this is what I mean. Like it just works.
It's just experimental, mate. Not all like their music is all experimental anyway. But then like I say that I'm not slating any like their entire album. All of them are just perfect. Like every single song I can listen to on repeat. Like it's brilliant. But yeah, I've just got so deep into their like the minute they're doing with like Dima. It's just yeah.
Oh shit, my voice went then. Yes.
But nice. But yeah, like at the minute it's just Hot Mulligan, Arm's Length, 21 Pilots, and Green Day. That's all I'm listening to at the minute.
Did you like Saviors?
Yeah, I did. Like, it's not. I haven't listened to it in a while. To be fair, I've listened to more older stuff than I have Saviors, but the same. Like Father of All was the same. Like I listened to a lot of that when that came out, and then just stopped. Yeah. Whereas I still now listen to Ducky and Warning nonstop.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah. Like, it's like when Saviors came out, and I was like, this is great. Like it dropped off after a minute, mostly because like I feel like it was good, but I'm like, oh, it's Green Day, you know, like it doesn't deter away from that road too much. It's Green Day, it's good Green Day. That's all it is, you know. That's bad. Enjoy. Not that that's bad at all. It's great, but like, I really like. You listen to the Network, this side project.
I've seen the Network, mate.
And Long Shot. The second Network album, even the first to a certain extent, but that second one is incredible. Yeah, I listened to that so much, way more than I've listened to Saviors, way more than I listened to Father of All, which I don't dislike as much as everyone else does.
No, like the trilogy I liked. Uno, Dos, Tres I like, apart from Nightlife. Hated that song so much. But I think the Saviors, the standout song of that is Dilemma. Like that's a good one, That's the one I've listened to the most of anything is Dilemma. Yeah. But yeah, it's the thing seeing them live. Like, it obviously was the anniversary shows, but I think they played like 3 new songs and that was it.
Yeah. I that was really weird to me when they, because like, I understood that it was like the anniversary tours and stuff. Yeah. But I'm like, you're touring after an album, like a new album comes out, you'd expect like they're touring for the album. Yeah. But they just did like American Idiot and like Dookie and stuff.
They just played the American Dream, Bobby Socks, and Dilemma. It's only new songs they played. They didn't play King for a Day. I was fuming about that.
I thankfully when I saw them in like 2014, they played King for a Day.
I saw them in it was after COVID, 2022. Yeah. And they played it then, which I was glad of. Yeah. It was they're such a good band, mate.
It's one of the biggest differences I think between them right now and say a band like Blink, where like I don't have anything like the tour and stuff, and they just tour in the American Idiot and Dookie albums. But like, I gotta give it a Blink, man. Like, I know they're like classed as like a legacy band now at some point, but like the way they play live and gigs is like they're still playing as if they're like an upcoming band because they're gigging,
enjoying it, mate.
They're gigging all the time. They're enjoying it, but they're also chucking in like a bunch of new songs as well. And that's so like it's so rare that like
the weirdest thing is seeing band. Like Tom singing Bored to Death.
I love it.
That's the weird one though.
It's I love it. And Cynical. Yeah. He doesn't do Cynical anymore. No. But I love Cynical anyway. I think it's such a good song.
I didn't mind Matt Skiba, to be fair. Like, it was good. But I think at first it was like, no.
Oh, yeah, of course.
This is the nice.
Yeah, this end right. Yeah.
And then after a while I got used to it. Like, I've seen Blink once, and it was with Matt Skiba.
Me too.
Not seen him at all.
In Cardiff.
I went to see him in Birmingham, and it was good. Like, it was good, but the entire time I'm thinking, where's Tom?
The Matt Skiba era of Blink, I took for granted, I'll be honest, when it happened, because I didn't know who Matt Skiba was when he joined Blink. Yeah. I only got into Alkaline Trio after the fact. Now, I'm wearing an Alkaline Trio shirt. Yeah. I love Alkaline Trio, and I think Matt Skiba is one of the best songwriters ever. I think he's such a good songwriter.
I've not heard too much of Alkaline Trio. I've heard like some songs that here and there, but I haven't gone like out of the way to listen to them.
I can recommend, I'll be honest, any of their albums. Yeah. But I think starting out, Crimson's such a good album. Their newer stuff's also really, really good. Like their new album, Blood, Hair and Eyeballs, the one they did before that, Is This Thing Curse, incredible. They did a little EP, Mind's Like a Minefield, also a good. I love them. I really, really love them. And I think I was in a similar, but I was too hard on Matt Skiba, like when he first joined. I still don't really like California, I'll be honest, as an album.
I don't mind it. There are like good songs on it.
There are, but it's such a bog standard.
It felt sort of forced. Like, we need to make this album. We need to get this out.
It felt forced. It felt a little bit rushed, and like it's a bit like if you were to Google pop punk. That's it. It's straight and narrow pop punk. Yeah. Whereas 9, the second album, was class. I still listen to that now. That album got ripped to shreds by like critics and stuff, which is insane to me because I think that album's really, really cool. Like they try a lot of cool stuff on there. Like, and I know a lot of it doesn't sound like quintessential Blink, but like neither did like the self-titled album.
You get the diehards that are like, well, no, this Tom's not doing this. You can't do it.
Honestly, if they carried down the road of 9, I would have been fine.
Yeah,
because like I love Tom. Anything Tom does, I love. So like the last Angels and Airwaves album, Life Forms, I'm like, this is great. I'd be fine if he carried on with this because this album's banging. Although I'm still a bit bitter about Angels and Airwaves because they were supposed to play in Bristol in the O2 Academy there right after COVID. Yeah. And I booked tickets. I signed up. You know what? I still got their card. So I booked tickets and I wanted to get VIP tickets.
Yeah.
To get VIP tickets, I had to become an official member of the Angels and Airwaves fan club called the Empire Club, which was 50 quid.
Brilliant.
So I had to pay for that for a year. And then I had to pay to upgrade the tickets through their site, which was another 50 quid. And then they cancelled it like a month before because they were like, oh, COVID. And I'm like, COVID's gone. And like the month after, I was seeing Alkaline Trio. So I'm like, if Alkaline Trio are playing, why aren't Angels and Airwaves playing?
Happened to me.
I was devastated.
I went to see, I didn't sign up for anything, but I did go see A Day to Remember in Cardiff. And I can remember getting to the venue, queuing, being like, it's going to be great. I think it was like the second time I've seen them, or maybe the first time. And getting to the door, like, way in. And then I was like, oh, yeah. Sick boys, we cancel the show now, and it's like just queued because I was like 14, 15. So I've just queued for 2 hours because I'm like, you've got to queue ages. I just turn up half hour after the doors open. I'm like, I'll get the front. It's fine. Like Green Day. To be fair, I think I had quite a few beers by the time I got to Green Day. But I was like, we were like front standing, and I was like, yeah, fine. We got there like. Just as Nothing But Thieves come on.
Yeah.
And it was like, straight in. Oh, we're at the front.
Sick.
Same bit like Biffy Clyro. I was like last in on the barrier at the front. Just like
jammy.
I think that's when I realised like I'm not queuing for 2-3 hours anymore. I'm just gonna turn up when the doors open.
I can't risk it.
And I'll have some food and like stuff before, and then like and then I'll get in. Like, and if not, I think the worst thing me and my friend had done, right, was when my Chem played in Sophia Gardens in Cardiff.
I went to the Milton Keynes one.
Yeah.
Class.
So it was like
twice.
We never thought that they'd come back. So it was like, we need to go see this gig. We have to go see My Chemical Romance. And just go into like we went to Spoons, we went here, we went there, went to Fuel, had some beer, walked down, and we was like, right. Got to the bar, and it's either like Summersby side or Carlsberg. And I don't like either of them, so I was like, right, I don't want any of them, but I do fancy a beer. Yeah. So I was looking up, and I was like, oh, I got bottles of wine there. So I bought two.
Oh my God.
So I bought 2 bottles of red wine, right? And they're about that big. They're not that big. They're probably about the size of that microphone.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll have 2 of them because that'll last me the entire night. That will. So I'm there with two bottles of wine, and Ryan's there with like 2 vodkas, and. Funeral for a Friend, where I was like watching these. Oh yeah, he's quite good. And then they finished. It was like, right, my chem's on next. And it started getting dark, and was like, right, we'll start pushing forward. So he was like, is Tom coming today? Ryan went, I think so. He wasn't, right? He's not even there. So I'm like, I've got 2 bottles of wine. One is mine. One's for the person that's not even here. Yeah. So we're walking through the crowd, like, Tom, like walking through, and Ryan's shouting as well, and I'm like, I've got your wine. I am steaming at this point, right? I see you see my camera front. I see Jared way, so I'm like going through, and I was like, oh, sorry. I'm like, yeah, thanks. This one guy went, you're lying. I was like, this is Tom's, and he's like, prove it. I'm like, well, I'm not drinking this one. It's Tom's. Yeah. So I drink mine, and I'm like, oh, right, do you want to go and get me another drink? He's like, no. I'm like, I'll hold the place. And he's like, no. And this one guy's like, go on, go through. And we got through to like the front, and then like, I was like, he's like, Tom. I didn't realize how close we were to the front. So by the time we got to the front, this person was like, which friend then? And we was like, don't know. The wine jarred way. Incredible night. Apart from my friend lost his phone that night. Don't know where it'd gone. Just disappeared.
Was he taking like videos and photos?
Probably, yeah. We did. I don't think we stood still for the entire time.
Yeah.
And we started crying at Black Parade. So it was all in all brilliant night.
Yeah, I cried twice too, and I took my younger brother to see them in Milton Keynes, and that was such like a nice moment because they were like I sort of like helped him get into like music and stuff, and he was like, "What band should I listen to?" And I was like, "Listen to these."
Yeah.
So like they were kind of like a band that we like bonded over and stuff. So like we managed to get into like the front pit area in Milton Keynes because we queued up all day.
Yeah.
And it was such a cool. It was like the first gig you'd ever been to, you know, and we were like dead right there in the middle kind of thing. You could see Jared Way there with his little white mask on and stuff, covered in blood and stuff. And so I started getting like teary-eyed because I was like, I love this band since I was like,
not real.
Yeah, I'm like, since like Bebo was a thing, I'm like, I love this band because I used to put their videos on my page and stuff. So I started getting teary-eyed over that, and then I was like, right, I'm all right, I'm okay. And then because my brother was in front of me, he's 6 years younger than me, and he turned around, and then I saw him crying. So then I was like, oh my god, and then I started crying again.
I think the funniest thing, but. Not as like sentimental as that. I took my brother to see Tenacious D when he was like 14.
Yeah.
And the age limit was 14. My brother is not a tall boy, right?
Yeah.
He's 19 now, and he's not really grown since he was 6.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like we went there, and again, my friend that we went to my game with came.
Yeah.
And we saw him in Wembley in London with Wembley Arena. Funniest thing in the world, right? So in the Wembley Arena, you've got Tenacious D playing with his band Winchester. In the Wembley Stadium, you've got BTS playing, right?
Right.
They're like separated by 400 meters or whatever it is, right? It's not a great deal. And so we walk into the arena. My brother's like never been to a gig before, so we're like, we're taking it. And his face, trying to keep a still face while Tenacious D's playing Fuck Her Gently was the funniest thing ever. And the fact they were like, yeah, we'll look after you. And then, again, Ryan's he's steaming at this point as well.
Yeah.
And walking out of that arena, and there's this big men, beards, Tenacious D t-shirt, beers and plastic cups, and all like, oh, that's brilliant now, metalheads.
Yeah.
People in cat ears walking down the strip. It's just a weird cross of people. It's like everyone in like cat ears and all these, and dressed like, you know, K-pop surfers, and then it's just like big men, my main t-shirts. I thought, oh, all right, yeah, all right. Just doesn't make sense.
To wrap things up, do you want to give any venue you want a shout out? Where it could be your favorite venue, it could be the Duke, and then just if you got anything to plug, now's your moment.
Yeah, venue-wise, if you want to go to any venues, the Fleece is definitely good. Loads of upcoming bands play there, as do the Moon in Cardiff. You can see anyone there. That's new. And Potters as well. Potters in Cardiff. Yeah, they put on loads for like Cardiff, and I know they're like struggling at the minute with like finances there to move buildings, and they're trying to put on loads for everyone. So yeah, just go there, like support your local scene. Like not every gig has to be in the Motorpoint or in an O2 Academy. Like your favorite band could be playing in your Labour club down the road. Like, and it'll cost you £3.
Yeah,
like or free if anything. So you know, people work their ass off for live music. And the band that you're seeing in a stadium started off in the Duke. Like, you know, is that. Any plugs otherwise? I'm not really doing much. I'm drumming for you at the minute.
You are.
I mean, you can listen to Coaches if you want. It's a band that I've done before. Dreamers is a really good track, so if you do want to listen to that. Otherwise, listen to Matt's stuff. We're going to play some gigs.
Please.
We need to play. Please, we need gigs.
Yeah, and listeners. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, James, for coming down.
No worries, man.
And that was a real quick way to kill 2 hours. This has been Shenanigans. thank you if you made it this far. Thank you for watching and
so
listening.
much.
Yeah, cool.
Bosch. La Bosch.